Welcome back to Reflections with Emrys. Let's take a moment to see what each symbol has to offer today. Today's symbols are the hare, the rune, Fehu, and the Beith, also known as the birch. The hare is a symbol of quick intuition, sensitivity, and the instinct to move at the right moment. At its core, the hare carries alertness, ears tuned to the smallest sound, body ready to spring. It reminds us that awareness is a kind of intelligence, not just a reaction. The hare doesn't force the world to slow down. It learns to read the world as it is. It also symbolizes fertility and creative spark, life that multiplies when conditions are right. And in many traditions, it holds a lunar quality, shifting, subtle, and deeply responsive. In life, the hare can show up when you're at the edge of a decision, when timing matters as much as choice. You might feel extra sensitive to people's moods, changes in the air, or unspoken truths. It can appear when you're learning to trust your first sense of something, before doubt talks you out of it. The hare can also reflect a period of restlessness, where your spirit wants movement, novelty, or freedom. And sometimes, it's a gentle nudge to stop freezing in place and take one clean leap forward. The hare's reflection is this: if your instincts are speaking softly, don't demand they shout. Create enough stillness to hear them. Let your sensitivity be information, not a burden. Notice what makes you tense and what makes you feel suddenly spacious. Then choose the step that feels quietly alive, even if it's small. The right motion isn't always dramatic, sometimes it's simply honest. Fehu is a rune of wealth, resources, and the living current of abundance. At its core, Fehu speaks of movable prosperity, what flows, what circulates, what grows when it's cared for. It isn't only money. It's energy, time, support, skills, opportunities, and the ability to provide. Fehu reminds us that abundance is a relationship. What you value, what you tend, and what you share. It also carries the lesson of stewardship. What you have can either stagnate or nourish, depending on how you hold it. And it asks you to notice the difference between having and thriving. In life, Fehu can appear when you're focused on building stability, earning, saving, investing, or creating something that supports you long-term. It can point to opportunities that increase your resources, but it also tests your relationship with worth. You might be asked to receive more openly, without guilt or suspicion. Or you might be asked to manage what you already have with more care, less leakage, more intention. Fehu can also show up when generosity becomes a key, when giving in the right way unlocks flow rather than depletion. Fehu's reflection is this: treat your resources like a fire, feed it wisely, don't smother it with fear, and don't scatter it carelessly. Ask yourself what truly supports your life, not just your image. Let abundance be practical, not performative. And remember that receiving is also a skill, one you're allowed to practice. Wealth, in its deepest sense, is what helps life continue. Beith, the birch, is an omen of beginnings, cleansing, and new growth after difficulty. At its core, birch is the first green after a hard season, the clean start, the fresh page, the restored breath. It's associated with renewal, purification, and the kind of resilience that doesn't harden the heart. Birch reminds us that starting again is not failure. It's a sacred rhythm of life. It also carries a bright, clarifying energy, a sense of clear out what's old so what's true can take root. And it speaks to gentle strength, flexible, upright, and quietly persistent. In life, birch may appear when you're ready to reset your habits, your home, your mind, your direction. It can show up after burnout, heartbreak, confusion, or a long stretch of surviving. You might feel an urge to simplify, declutter, cleanse, or make a small change that signals a new chapter. Birch also arrives when you need forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, so you can move forward without dragging the past like a heavy coat. And it can encourage you to begin before you feel perfectly prepared, trusting that growth comes through the doing. Birch's reflection is this: you don't need a perfect plan to begin, only a sincere willingness to start clean. Let the old story release you gently. Choose one small act of renewal that proves to your spirit that change is possible. Protect the tender shoots of your new beginning with kindness and boundaries, and let your life be allowed to grow in a new direction. When we look at these three symbols together, the hare, Fehu, and Beith, a bright message of responsive renewal begins to form. The hare brings instinct and timing. Fehu brings resources and flow. Beith brings cleansing beginnings and fresh growth. Together, they suggest that a new start is available to you. but it will work best if you move with intuition and manage your energy and resources wisely. This is not a season for forcing outcomes. It's a season for listening, clearing, and then taking the right leap when the opening appears. Something can grow quickly now, but it needs clean ground and steady stewardship. And the more you trust your inner signals, the more naturally abundance gathers around what you're building. The Hare encourages you to trust your instincts and move when the moment is right. Fehu invites you to honor what you have and let it circulate with intention. Beith reminds you that renewal begins with release, and that starting again is strength. The mood of this combination feels like early morning. Crisp air, clean light, and the sense that something is beginning to stir. It suggests a lesson about fresh starts that are also practical. A renewal that isn't just emotional, but grounded in how you spend your time, energy, and attention. It may be asking you to clear one thing that's draining you, then choose one nourishing action that restores you. It may also be asking you to stop waiting for certainty and instead follow the quiet signal of readiness. This combination might be asking of you: begin again, lightly, wisely, and without apologizing for your own growth. Today's reflection is this: a gentle beginning becomes abundant when you trust your timing, tend your resources, and clear space for what wants to grow. Thank you for joining me. I'll meet you in the next reflection.